So let's talk just a little bit about descriptive research and the types of research that are included in this category. When we think about descriptive research, we're really describing the characteristics, behaviors, and conditions of individuals or groups. And descriptive research, if you think about it, is building blocks that lead to future research. Descriptive research describes a population that can lead to exploratory research, which will look for relationships between variables that you may have described in the descriptive studies. And then that leads to hypotheses about cause and effect that can be tested in experimental research. So the descriptive leads to exploratory, leads to experimental many times. So what are some kinds of descriptive research that we might encounter? There's developmental, normative, qualitative studies, descriptive surveys, and case studies. So let's explore a few of these in a little more detail. If we're talking about examples of descriptive research, we really are talking about studies that describe the nature of existing phenomenon and describe how variables might change over time. Things like describing a new disease or a new virus or a new condition. And observations that are made in descriptive studies can lead to us generating hypotheses that we'll test in future work. An example of a type of developmental research is natural history. And a natural history study that actually caused a lot of controversy and really the foundation for many of our ethical principles in conducting clinical research came out of the Tuskegee studies in the South, where they withheld treatment from African American patients with syphilis to look at the natural history and the progression of the disease over time without treatment. So they found that primary syphilis had a localized lesion and it was limited to that localized lesion, but gone untreated, then that disease progressed to secondary syphilis, which was the systemic dissemination of the disease. And then left untreated, that would progress to tertiary syphilis, where the disease spread and affected the brain, causing severe cognitive impairment and frequently resulting in death. Another type of developmental research is a normative study. And an example of a normative study are the large growth studies we've done in children that resulted in the generation of boys and girls growth charts. The NHANES data are large national studies with a sample of children from different populations, and it generates what normal growth is in the United States for children, and these became the norms that we put on the growth charts. So many times these descriptive studies provide the building blocks for future research. And I want to just give you an example of that from some work that I've done. So we started the work, the research trajectory for children with substance abusing parents with a qualitative descriptive study of school-based support groups for children with a substance abusing parent. We did observations in a couple different schools that offered the groups. We conducted individual interviews with children who participated in the groups, and we did focus groups at the end of participation. And we asked the children about their experience in the groups, as well as what they thought maybe the benefits of participation were. From that work, we then identified what outcomes we'd want to measure from the kids telling us what the benefits of participation were. Another building block or foundational piece to that work was a needs assessment, a survey. And we surveyed children who had identified having a substance abusing parent and asked them about the experience of growing up in their family and asked about their interest in individual therapy, group therapy, or participating in a school-based support group for kids with addicted parents. And all of this work was then foundational to writing the grant proposal, where we got funding to conduct a randomized controlled trial looking at the outcomes of participation in school-based support groups. Some of those descriptive studies are posted for you in reading for this week's module. So I'd like you to take some time and think about what are some descriptive studies that might inform the work that you want to do around your area of substantive interest. What could be some building blocks that would be just descriptive studies that would inform the future work that you hope to do? Please post a descriptive study in the discussion board for this week.